Hi, I'm Thomas Schwabi. Welcome to Bezalel Flags. Today I'm going to share out of my illustration that's entitled The Lion of Revelation. This was an illustration that was given to me from the Lord, and it just speaks so much of who He is to us as a giver of the light of revelation, of the keys of revelation. And so I'm right now going to read from Revelation chapter 5. Basically, this says, I saw on the right hand of him who sat on the throne a book written inside and on the back, sealed up with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to break its seals?" And we know who is worthy. It's Jesus, the Lion. And no one in heaven or on the earth or under the earth was able to open the book or to look into it. Then I began to weep greatly because no one was found worthy to open the book or to look into it. And one of the elders said to me, "Stop weeping. Behold, the Lion that is from the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has overcome so as to open the book and its 7 seals." You know, Jesus is, again, that Lion of Revelation. He is the only one that is worthy to have opened up that book and to open up its seals. See, Jesus is the giver of the revelation. He's giver of revelation. He's the giver of keys. And so, I want to share out of this picture again. Let's go on to the keys. What are keys? I had an encounter a few years ago where I was laying on the ground, soaking in God's presence, just focusing on Jesus, worshiping Him. And in the midst of that time, I had a visionary experience where I saw Jesus in like a tube or a tunnel, or you can call it a portal. And as I looked at Him, He threw a key to me, and I grabbed it. And I held it in my hand, and I thought to myself, what are keys? What is a key, or what are keys? And the thought came to me, the phrase came to me, revelatory thoughts and images are like keys that open up doors that you could enter into and experience what's there in that place or that room. Revelatory thoughts and images are likened to keys that open up doors that enable you to enter into a place and experience what's in that place. So, you know, the revelatory thoughts that flow to us and pictures that flow to us are actually likened to keys. And when those things come to us, we can actually allow God, the process of God, to enable us to experience things that will alter and change us. We'll enter into an experience, an encounter, a place, if you will, in the Spirit. And so Jesus imparts these keys. You know, 7 keys. 7 is the number that represents the place of rest and perfection. On the 7th day God rested, it talked about. And I like to quote often from John Paul Jackson's statement. He says that peace is the potting soil for revelation. Peace is the potting soil for revelation. And so when we're in that place of the rest and we're relaxed, revelation will flow to us. The keys can come to us. And these keys, they're living, they're alive. They're the thoughts of God. And you know, they open up your eyes. They're eye openers. You can see in the handles of the keys, there's eyes, there's blue eyes. And again, blue is the color for revelation. Blue is the color for communion and revelation. And He wants to give us these things so that our eyes would be opened. Our eyes would be brightened, if you will. In the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel 14, verse 27, it says that, "But Jonathan had not heard when his father put the people under oath. Therefore he put out the end of the staff that was in his hand, and dipped it in the honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes brightened." And put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes brightened. See, Jonathan received honey into his mouth. He put honey into his mouth, and it says his eyes brightened. See, revelation is also it's likened to honey, if you are. Honey is like a symbol, metaphor of revelation, that when it's imparted to you, when you tasted it in the story, it says his eyes became brightened, because the revelation, when it comes to us, it enlightens us. It enlightens, like the Apostle Paul talks about the eyes of your understanding being enlightened through the spirit of wisdom and revelation. And so when that revelation comes, it's like honey to us, and it brightens our eyes, enlightens us, so we can begin to see. It opens up our eyes. It's like an eye opener. So the word enlighten in the Greek language is the word photizo. It's where we get our English word photograph. So it's like the picture language of God. The vision, the pictures, the thoughts of God come often as pictures, and they enlighten us. And the word enlighten actually means to shed rays into us, to shine or to give light, to bring to light something that's hidden, disclosed, to illuminate and to make to see. See, it was disclosed, it was hidden before, but the worthy one brings it out into the open. He makes us to see. He sheds rays of light. When these keys come, they're like shedding of rays. They flood the eyes of our imagination. And so we begin to see, and things are disclosed and made to see. Even the prophets talk about visionary experience are recorded regarding the prophets when they would see a vision, particularly like Ezekiel. He saw in a vision a hand stretching forth to him with a scroll in it and telling him to take it and eat it. And so he took it and ate it. The voice said, take it and eat it, fill your stomach with it. And it's described that as when he took it in, it tasted like honey, sweet like honey, but then it became bitter. So again, honey, which is the Greek Hebrew word debash, meaning a thick gummy substance. It represents, it's a metaphor of revelation. So when revelation comes, it's like sweet like honey. Now it talks about tasting and seeing that the Lord is good. See, there's a spirit there. In the spirit you can taste things. Your spirit is able to taste. Impartation of light comes, and you're able to taste, and you know things by experience. By revelation you come to know things. That's, God wants to give us the key so that we can know Him better, experience Him, to know the things of the Spirit. And it only comes by the impartation of spirit to spirit, light to light. God speaks light to our spirit. Flesh and blood does not reveal these things, but the Spirit. And the Father wants to give us revelation. He wants to give us keys so that we can begin to taste and to know by experience. And so He is the one that gives us the keys of revelation, and it opens up our eyes. The blue mist of the Spirit of revelation flows, and He floods our eyes and with the light of heaven, the blue light, if you will, of revelation. And you could see in His eyes the blue mist of revelation, because He is the giver of all revelation. And under His right eye there's the Hebrew word hazah, and it's the word meaning to contemplate with pleasure, to gaze at mentally, to behold, to see, to have a vision of, to prophesy, to select for oneself, and to provide. That the Hebrew word hoza, which is the word for a seer, is a root of that word hazah. And so they're interconnected, the visionary realm and that word hazah. But I like what Bobby Connor personally shared with me regarding that word, and he said that that word hazah is the strongest Hebrew word used for focus. And focus is a very powerful law in the Spirit. And I was very blessed to hear Bobby share that with me, because I didn't find that in any commentary, but that was shared to me by him. And so the word focus, that's the strongest Hebrew word used for the word focus. And again, focus is a powerful thing, a tool, a law in the Spirit. Because what you focus on, you make room for, and what you focus on, you feed. What you focus on, you empower. And the Lord wants to give us what to focus on. He wants to give us the light of revelation. He wants to give us keys. The blue eye, I use that often in many of my illustrations. It's kind of like a primary logo. It's a mark in many of my illustrations and paintings. It comes from an encounter that I had in which I was in a visionary experience where I was walking and down a path, and I saw like a bird come and land in the midst of the path, and it was kind of like a speckled colored bird, and I went to walk up to it to look at it, but while I was walking towards it, Jesus stepped into the pathway, and He put His arm out and basically forbid me from coming in further to look. And as I looked, the bird turned, and I saw its eye, and it was pure black. Very dark black, and then it took off and flew away. After that bird flew away, another pure white bird came, and as it came, it landed. It was like a pure white eagle, and had gold talons. And I was able to walk up to that bird and look at it, and as I walked up to it, it turned and looked at me, and I saw its eye, and the eye was an incredibly blue colored, ultramarine almost colored blue that sucked me in. And then I came out of this visionary experience just with such a desire to be able to paint that entire bird one day. But I've always, that's where I got the blue eye from. And then the Lord gave me the word hazah to go with that eye. And I often put that word underneath the eye, the right side of the lion's eye. You know, the right side represents it's the right hemisphere of the brain. It's where the intuitive flows come to us. It's where all the intuitive, spontaneous thoughts stem from, and pictures. They come from the right side, and that's the area where God speaks often to us. And imagination, which is the Greek word dianoia, that area of creativity. He speaks to us in that area. That's the right side. And so, you know, the Hebrew word again under that right eye is the word hazah, meaning to focus, to contemplate with pleasure, to have a vision of, to see, to behold, to prophesy. And so Jesus is the one that gives us that revelation, those keys, the keys to begin to open up and experience things. You know, keys also, I like to share also about keys as well as being people. You know, people are likened to keys. Jesus talked about keys, the keys of the kingdom. And he also talked about the prophets and apostles being keys that he sent to the people. And some they persecuted, others they killed. And so he said, you have taken away the keys of knowledge, and you have shut up the doors from people entering into the kingdom and experiencing the supernatural, the kingdom. And you know, keys are also a metaphor, a symbol of people. And I like to share often a story that my friend Jeremy Nelson likes to share often, when there was a season where he was being mentored by Bobby Connor again, and Bobby would share supernatural stories with him, oftentimes sharing all these encounters, and then you know, one day he just shared with Jeremy and said, you know, the reason why he's sharing these is so that he can begin to step into an encounter and experience the supernatural as well, because the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. And as Bobby began to share out of his encounters of who he is in God and his walk with God, it would open up, begin to impart to Jeremy the supernatural as well, and open up the door for him to come in, enter in, and experience that as well. And that's what would begin to occur with Jeremy. You start having supernatural encounters and experiences, because you know, Bobby was a key as well. He was and is a key to the body of Christ to help open up doors for people to enter into the supernatural and walk in the Spirit and experience the supernatural and encounter the Lord. Bobby was a key. He's a receiver of revelation and has become a key for others. So keys represent people as well. And you know, you and I can become keys too, that what we experience in the supernatural, what we receive from the Lord and allow to change our lives, we actually receive revelation, a message from the Lord, but also we become the message, if you will. And you not only receive a message, but you become a message. You not only receive revelation, keys, but you can become a key for others. And as you share out of your place of experience in the supernatural, what you've encountered of God and experienced, you begin to release the key and become a key to open up the door for others to step into and experience the place that you've been in as well. So, you know, God is able to take what is written of you, impart it and show you it, the keys, and enable you to become what is written of you, so that you can walk out in the supernatural and be a door opener for others to step into the place that you've experienced and encountered. So, you know, Jesus is that revelation, giver of revelation. I like to think of him as being the master key. He's the one that opens up, can give you, he is the one who opens up everything for you. He gives you the access to everything, and his good pleasure. It's his good pleasure. The Father, he said, it's the Father's good pleasure to give you the keys to the kingdom, to enable you to enter in and experience the supernatural as well. So, you know, again, he is the giver of keys. He is the Lion of revelation, and he wants and desires us to know him better, to know the things of the Spirit. And so he comes and releases the keys of revelation to us, and they come and they flood our eyes. You know, he wants to flood our eyes with the blue mist, communion and revelation to flood the eyes of our understanding so that we again might know him. That word know is the Hebrew word yada. It's the same word that speaking of how Adam knew Eve. It's an intimate knowing by experience and encounter. It's not an intellectual assenting of something, but it's an actual supernatural knowing, experience, encounter with the supernatural, spirit to spirit. It's the Greek word ginosko, and it's just knowing in many different aspects of full knowledge, of deep knowledge. I like to quote often as well from another man who described revelation as knowing without having learned. So you know inwardly through your spiritual senses being imparted keys of light. They come in and you know that way rather than having learned from your external senses. Out from the outside in, but rather from the inside out. The entrance of his voice, his word, his light gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. So, the Lion of Revelation is his desire to give to you, to flood you with the blue mist, the spirit of revelation, to flow into your life, to flow into your spirit and enlighten your eyes. And so I just want to pray right now that the Lord, the God and Father of our Lord, Jesus Christ, would grant to you the spirit of wisdom and revelation that you might know him better. And that the eyes of your understanding would be enlightened, that you might know the hope to which he's called you and the glorious riches of his inheritance in the saints and the exceeding greatness of his power. God has given you, written of you, Jesus, he's the author and the perfecter of your faith. He's the author of the book of your life. Even Jesus, when he walked on earth, said, "Lo, I come just as it is written of me in the volume of the book." And you have a book as well regarding your life. And he desires to begin to show you the things that are yet to come. He desires to show you the good works which he prepared in advance for you to do. Just as Jeremiah is written of Jeremiah, "Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you, and I set you apart to be a prophet to the nations." God, before you were formed, before I was formed in our mother's womb, he knew us and set us apart for good works, which he had prepared in advance for us to do as the author and perfecter of our faith, of our life. And he desires that we not only see that, to know it, to eat it, and to know it, to eat it, to experience it, but to become and become it on earth, so that the word becomes flesh, so that you live out the book of your life. And so my prayer again is that the Lord would not only bless you with the spirit of wisdom and revelation, but that you would become on earth even as it is written of you in heaven, in the book of your life, by the author himself, the Lion of Revelation, which is Jesus. So I just want to thank you for this time to share it into your life, to speak into your life, and may the Lord richly bless you.